You are live. Oh, I know. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to LongWalkers Live Factual Fridays, where we're doing part 2, all about kratom, however you want to say it.
In the States, they call it kratom with a very American white sounding A. But as you hear from the actual divisions, it's kratom.
Kratom.
So I prefer just to say kratom.
Yes. Yeah, let me share this and get this share screen.
And we'll finally share the only noticeable side effect that we've seen out of the whole 8 years that we've been taking it. This goes into more of the chemical compound and everything like that, right?
Yes. Wait, it was.
Let's go to your playlist beforehand.
I was reading some stuff when I was getting.
Make sure it's piping on the other side.
I will.
Here's kratom. You're gonna have to walk with me through a minefield.
Looks good, right?
What is that?
Huh? You'll see. It's the one guy that talks about the stuff.
Field of positive and negative testimonials in order to find out. Boy, howdy. This is going to be tricky. Here we go. I haven't even started. Hold off with the explosions. Very funny. It is most widely pronounced kratom, but really I think kratom, ruler of the universe. Would sound a little more impressive, wouldn't it? Kratom. Kratom.
Clayton.
Kratom is an evergreen tree in the coffee family from Southeast Asia. It goes by a variety of names, and it even comes in red, green, and white varietals. Traditionally, it was used by workers to increase their energy and for its pain-relieving effects.
Is it done yet?
Both of which we're going to go into more detail shortly, so stay tuned for that. Kratom leaves have over 40 active compounds, but the big daddies you really need to focus on are mitragynine and hydroxymitragynine. And these are where the biggest booms or busts of kratom tea originate. Now, unlike most of my videos, I'm going to start today with the bad news and work up to the good. Just because there are a lot of potentially explosive controversies we have to walk around before we get to the benefits of kratom tea.
See, this is why he did that.
Yes, it's safe. It's very safe. So safe you wouldn't believe it.
The FDA is being a little extra itchy about kratom, mainly because it's been linked to 44 deaths as of 2018. And the CDC linked kratom to 152 deaths between 2016 and 2017. However, the landmine that blows up this argument is that kratom by itself was only linked to 4 of those deaths. And these were attributed to mitragynine toxicity between
The toxicity, I can say.
Yeah, I am yet to see the 4 deaths, so I've seen quite a few more people talking about it, and nobody else. There's a lot of people that say there's no deaths directly to the powder kratom.
Oh, kratom.
Kratom.
Yeah, don't disrespect the indigenous.
But
We've been calling it kratom for 8 years.
But
we're
the
not gonna start
leaf.
calling it something else.
The leaf.
No, if it's anything, it's coming from concentrate.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the toxicity can only come from a concentrate. It's almost impossible to have toxicity from
Just the leaf.
this. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, but almost because it's like your body will reject it. You know,
Exactly.
unless you're very young.
And a lot of it just comes down to the government wanting to try to control it because it can solve a lot of the opioid pandemic.
Well, exactly. That's where they get a lot of their money from.
Yeah.
And it's just like cannabis. They try to say that there's now THC-induced psychosis.
Yeah, we haven't seen that.
It's like only if you already have an underlying psychotic issue, then perhaps the heightened level. And again, it's at the heightened levels of THC, meaning
Dabs, yeah,
edibles,
exactly.
Stuff like that. I don't know. They said there's been a handful of deaths in that department now too.
And see, I don't see that as being just straight up the kratom.
No.
That you're doing other things too. It's altering states. It's altering.
Yeah.
Therefore, I don't see it as just being just the kratom. That it means something else is involved.
Great.
in the person's death.
Well, like I said, toxicity is definitely possible if you use a concentrate.
Well, yeah, but that's doing something else to it, not
Yeah,
taking it
it's
the
not
way it's
taking it the way that nature intended for it to be taken.
exactly, as within the tea and the leaf form.
Some of these people I saw that they were taking like 10 capsules at a time though.
Yeah,
That's a lot
it is.
because like
And
4
that depends on the
capsules-
brand, because as we have seen, there is a brand that does 750
Yeah.
milligrams per capsule,
right.
but a lot of them are 500.
Most of them are 500. So you're saying
Yeah.
on average you should be taking like about 1 to 2 grams per dose, maybe 3 to 4 times a day.
Yeah,
So if they're taking 10, that's 5 grams at a time, right?
Yeah.
On average.
Yeah, that would be
if it's not the 750s.
exactly.
And if you're not paying attention, that does make a big difference.
That'll
If you
add up
remember.
quick, especially
Right.
if they're not taking it 2 to 3 times a day. If they're upping that even, I mean, yeah,
Right.
that adds up really quick.
But I still think that your body would end up purging it before it became a toxic.
I would think so, yeah.
I mean, unless you're really good at not throwing up.
I mean, when we first got into it with taking it, it was very easy to hit that dose that your body
I feel
was
a
like,
lot. Yeah,
God.
for sure. And it's like, because you underestimate it.
Yes.
You're raised to think that plant matter, herbs, they're not as effective because that's like the second choice.
Exactly.
So, on 2 different occasions in my life with 2 different types of plants, I've done that.
Yeah.
One of them was a mix, and it had valerian and kappa and all this other stuff in it. And it was little cute little pink pills, and it put me down almost as bad as some. I almost fell into a pond and everything else.
Yeah.
Weak in the legs, just loopy out of my mind, numb tongue, the whole thing,
Yes.
And then I had totally underestimated kratom in the beginning, and I threw up a lot.
Yeah.
That first 2 years, maybe trying to find that balance.
And that's probably if you're just starting out on this, that's probably one of the most negative effects that you'll deal with, is trying to find your balance.
Right.
And so you'll hit that threshold of throwing up. I think you say something.
It did. I'm hoping it was that high.
I hope so too. But it's hitting that threshold and feeling really nauseous and everything else. That's probably the worst thing you're going to encounter.
Yeah, the first couple of years, you're going to want to find out what quality works with you, how much you can tolerate at the minimum. Like, what is the smallest amount that you can take and
Yes.
be, like, where you need to be. That's the goal, is to take the smallest amount possible. And you're going to have to find out what kind of strain you need, or a combination there.
Because, yeah, there are a lot.
Right. It's like,
I mean, there's really 3, but there's mixes here and there too.
yeah, I don't think that blends are good. I don't particularly like it in cannabis either.
No.
But you could take something in the morning and maybe something in the evening, or like you said before, alternate days.
Yeah, for sure.
But I still think you'd be okay if you want to take like a white Borneo or something in the morning for like a coffee replacement.
Well, exactly. I mean, a lot of people I've heard take it with coffee, and it's like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that. That's a little bit of it.
That'll get you really jittery.
Yeah, for sure. But if it's pain that you're looking for, definitely the red strains of every variety is what you're looking for.
Yes.
It's like red is the general color for pain relief across plants, across the board.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah.
1999 and 2017. But in all of these deaths, there is nothing conclusive that says other factors weren't involved with these poor people shuffling off their mortal coil.
He died? And this is supposed to be a kid's movie.
The DEA has listed kratom as a drug of concern, and various countries limit kratom use and possession, which is something we probably should do a little better in the US and UK as well. But the US is being just a little bit psychobilly right now over kratom. In 2016, the FDA wanted to jump straight to adding kratom as a Schedule 1 drug, which is insane, because there still isn't any research that really says kratom is truly lethal. Luckily, that landmine turned out to be a dud, and the idea has been shelved for now. Hopefully forever. Dr. Walter Prozielek disagrees with the FDA. The FDA has taken the position that since the compounds in kratom can bind to opioid receptors, kratom is an opioid. But he also made the point that Narcan, which is used to treat opioid poisoning, does the same thing. But nobody calls Narcan an opioid. And from all the research I did, I gotta say I'm in agreement with those who say kratom shouldn't be considered a Schedule 1 drug. That's just me. You can let me know in the comments down below if you agree, disagree. Does kratom have lots of side effects? Yes. There is a monster list of side effects that I'm not going to even read off. You'll just have to slow the video down or go back if you miss any. And no doubt this monster list is concerning, but research suggests that the bulk of these nasty side effects don't occur until you start heavier doses of more than 5 grams of kratom at a time and or having at least 100 grams of kratom per week. And while kratom tea can be used to ease people off more serious drugs, there have been side effects attributed to kratom withdrawal as well, such as rage, hostility, or irritability. And once again, the list keeps going on, which is not good. Of these problems, the National Poison Data System says that the most common symptoms were agitation, rapid heartbeat, and drowsiness. The upside of kratom tea is that there are less reports of it having side effects compared to other forms of kratom. Though even with the tea, there is research saying that if you have it over time, you can still have lots of these side effects. Sorry. And as you might expect, kratom tea doesn't...
Because we didn't get around to it last time.
No, we did not.
Besides that, and especially in the beginning.
Yes, and watch yourself in the beginning. That's the biggest.
And don't, give up just because it keeps making you feel...
nauseous.
It's like it's a whole experiment. It's a whole process to find out exactly how much you need and everything.
It's like just going, just saying, well, I'm just jumping to opioids because at least I know what I'm doing with that. At least it's like this is different. This is so much safer for you. It's so much cleaner.
You can die from opiates, and you can die pretty easily from opiates.
Yes, you can.
And I used to get just as sick, if not sicker, taking painkillers,
Yes.
So you get in the car and then the dizziness would hit and I just throw up, and then it's wasted and then it's wasted and then you gotta take another one and
and you're done with that one and then that's not even just that, it's trying to get the opioids. So, you wasted one. That you cannot just go to the store and get a new one.
Right. So it's like if it's part of a prescription, there's your full dose.
Yeah.
So and if it's not a prescription, there's a $7 to $10 down the drain.
Exactly.
At the time, I don't even know now.
Yeah, I don't know.
It used to be like $4 and $7, and it was $10. And, yeah, not worth it. But we get ours from smoke shops.
Yes.
We make sure, or online. We haven't ordered online for a long time, but you can.
Of course you can, yeah.
And it costs about $100 for a kilo, and we might go through, let's say, 2 kilos a month. That's $200 between the two of us.
Yeah.
You can't buy insurance or prescriptions for that price.
No, you can't.
So, and this is quality health rather than pharmaceutical debilitation.
Yeah.
But the only noticeable long-term side effect that I found in 8 years, and they haven't talked about it, is melanated skin. And I know that I've read that in places because the indigenous also have to deal with that. They're outside.
Yep.
And they're already darker as it is because of the location that they live in. But even you being of European descent,
yeah,
you've got a mass. So you've got hyperpigmentation of this area here, and that they say is from the cannabis and the sunlight, because you do become a little bit more photosensitive. So
yeah, you do. That is for sure.
In the whole 8 years that we've been taking, 7.5 years, that's the only long-term side effect that I found. Everything else has gotten better. Our usage has gotten less.
Yeah, we started off a lot more, and then we've been able to get down, just getting it to what we need.
Yeah, we were 25 grams a piece a day.
Yeah.
At the beginning, because we just didn't know. Like I said, it's you just put scoops in, and you're just trying to figure it out. And now it's, let's see, so if we do, I don't know. I had it in my head a little bit ago. Let's see. Each scoop, it's equivalent of 4 a piece. So like I said, 2 grams a piece, 2, 4, 6, 6 grams a piece a day. So 12 together.
Yeah.
Is about what we go through. And that's been daily.
Yeah, it has.
So In the beginning, we were struggling with, like I said, hoarding it and getting more than we needed and trying to,
Yes.
but you get through that as well and use it the way that it was intended to be used.
Exactly.
A big part of the problem is like, I was taught to honor the plants that were given, and that isn't honorable,
Yeah,
so
that's not.
you think of it as being a sacred plant that's given that can be taken away at any point.
Exactly.
And you treat it accordingly, and you treat it for health, not high.
Yeah.
I don't like hearing people talk about it being used for highs.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be.
I don't really like hearing people talk about it being used for mental health either.
It depends, because taking kratom is better than being on any medication.
Yeah, but
for depression.
But do you work through it?
I
Or does
mean,
it just mask it?
I don't know.
So it's like if you're working through it and you're working to solve
Yes.
the issues that are coming from your mental health, but it gives you the clarity to do so.
Yeah, and I guess because what I think of is the people that have lack of energy. They can't get out of bed. They're so depressed that they're down.
For sure.
And then battery.
Oh, we need a
charger, dude. But they're so down that Tristan, charger for this.
Yeah, that's true.
That they're so down that they can't get out of bed, and they start taking this. It picks them up. But that would be under what you said. They work through it.
All right, as long as
they would be working. They'd be getting up, doing stuff then, and they might not need to take the kratom for much longer. They might be able to get off of it.
It's true. They might not.
Or they might need to take it to keep that going. I don't know.
Right. I think it's just like, I don't know. Like for bodily health, I feel that it's good. I think that it could be used as a crutch for mental health. I'm not really sure on that,
yes.
But I do find that a lot of mental health issues are caused by physical pain.
They are, for sure.
I feel that if you control the physical pain, then you'll be better mental.
Yes, you will.
That's how it was for us anyway. We're able to take ourselves outside of our body and actually, listen to our mental health issues and work through that, because we were constantly distracted by the pain.
Exactly. And especially, I was one with big on the tooth pain.
You're right.
I was always in pain, and that can be some of the worst pain.
I don't think we ever had it for your tooth pain.
No.
So
no, but I'm just saying, I can imagine that would be a big help.
Yeah, probably. You just gotta watch it if you have like cavities and stuff, because the plant matter getting stuck up in your teeth in the cavities is not going to be good either.
Exactly.
It's not plugged in.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. But
you got a lot of screen time already, dude.
But in general, like I say, the only long-term side effect that I've seen is just the hypermelanated skin.
No power connection. That's it.
It's
right?
fine. Yeah.
It's going. Okay.
It's okay.
Good.
But that's a small thing, and I think that's actually correctable. I think that you can put like stuff on your face to stop that. It's just that we live a busy lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what are you doing? I'm hot in my Switch.
You chucked something at me.
I'm not chucking something at you.
Like a few.
If not all of the symptoms and problems that occur with kratom often occur when mixed with other drugs or prescriptions. So if you're taking anything else at all, you'll want to be especially careful when having kratom tea. But after all of this mayhem and landmines, the real problem here is regulation. O. Hayden Griffith said that it is the Wild West out there when it comes to some types of kratom and kratom-related products. Kratom is operated in a gray area of the law. And since there are no regulations for sellers of the drug, it's hard to tell which sellers of kratom are reputable and which are not. So, all those potential side effects. Am I 14 in puberty? Well, then should I just be avoiding kratom tea altogether? Many will, and that's perfectly okay. But there are also lots of people out there that say kratom has helped them an immense amount. In fact, in 2016 alone, the FDA and DEA received over 20,000 testimonials from people saying that kratom works just fine for them. In order to make the benefits work for you, you're going to need to make sure you're using the right dose. As I briefly mentioned, anything over 5 grams is considered a strong dose. So especially if you're starting out, you're going to want to aim for less than that. Generally, between 1 to 5 grams is where kratom acts as a stimulant. So if those are the properties you're looking for, awesome, you're in great shape. If you want the pain and anti-anxiety benefits, you're going to need to look at the 5 to 15 gram per dose range. Keep in mind, it is recommended not to go over 15 grams per serving. Definitely not recommended there. As over that is where people come into the more serious problems like, losing consciousness. So yeah, probably best if you can avoid that. Most people will notice the effects of kratom between 5 to 10 minutes, with the effects normally lasting about 2 to 5 hours. And with that, we leave the minefield of... Damn. It's also worth noting that not all kratom leaves are equal. That also important ingredient, mitragynine, tends to come in a much lower concentration in Malaysian kratom compared to, say, Thai kratom leaves. And now we're out of the minefield. I hope. While not all kratom leaves are created equal, you can get pain relief from red, white, or green types of kratom, though some say the most effective varietal is the Bali or red kratom. Oh boy, let's see if we can do this. The biggest way that kratom tea can help pain is via hydroxymitragynine. Hydroxymitragynine. Oh, why do they make these things so tough? Come on, hydroxymitragynine. See, I still can't say it. Mitragynine. Sounds a lot easier. Why can't I call it mitragynine? Mitragynine? I've heard it said like 3 different ways. It's via that alkaloid that I'm showing on the screen right now, because I can't say the damn thing apparently. Which, according to some research, is 13 times more potent than morphine. In some research on rats, mitragynine was found to reduce pain, though some other studies have affirmed that mitragynine alone wasn't enough. The other alkaloids and properties of kratom were needed to get the full effect. Kratom can be effective for all types of pain, but it is thought to be most effective for neuropathic pains like cancer, MS, and arthritis. Out of the anecdotal evidence we have on it, there are people with various types of chronic pain that say that kratom is the only thing they found that works for them. Kratom is also a great anti-inflammatory, as inflammation is the cause of many pains in your body. But you probably already knew that part, right? Yeah,
It's better than taking ibuprofen.
And it's these 2 great compounds that are primarily responsible for this. They not only help with inflammation, but they're also great antivirals, antihypertensive, and can also help things from mutating into cancer.
Intervention!
All right, and also, they talk about that, the inflammation part of this, and how the kratom is a very good benefit for inflammation. I mean, I'm a testimonial to that. I have bad knees. My knees twisted at one spot, and so it causes a lot of issues for me. And I still walk everywhere. I still do everything. So
you were diagnosed with like an RA strain. They tried to say it was lupus at the time.
Yeah.
But it was like an RA strain, and it spreads within your family. So you already have you have knee issues already.
Yes.
And then you're twisted at the hip. So it puts this inordinate pressure on your knee, which makes your leg almost go like at a 90
Yeah, you can
degree
see
angle.
if you follow my footprints in the sand, you
It's
can
unmistakable.
definitely know where I'm going.
And I met you. You were 17, and you already had this giant bottle of stuff that they prescribed you.
Yeah, they were giving me ibuprofen. It was the 800, like what is it, milligrams or grams or what is it? Milligrams,
It was
right?
800 milligrams, yeah.
And I was supposed to take like 2 of those, like every 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah. At 17. And
At 17 years old.
You already had it before that.
Yeah.
So God knows how long you were taking it.
And that's what they were giving me, and they said just take this when you need it.
That's insane.
Within the time period.
That's insane. That is.
And I mean, I can't imagine if I would have just stayed on that, what that would have done to my stomach.
You already had.
I already had ulcers from drinking too much soda as a kid, which also probably did not help my inflammation.
Absolutely didn't know, and
because I don't drink sodas anymore. I mean, every now and again we might get something, but I hardly ever drink sodas anymore. So all of that's been eliminated from my life. Otherwise, I lived a very healthy life. I have had a couple of issues, but like I was a big salad eater.
Yeah, you still eat a lot of processed food. Though.
Yes.
Like, it was like, even if it was the salad dressings and stuff, and like I said, mostly the sodas. I think it was.
The sodas were
Yeah, and then you ate candies and we ate out and stuff. I mean, everybody did at that age,
Yeah, it was not uncommon for me to go through a 12-pack of sodas in a couple of days.
So like
of Coca-Cola at that.
Plato once said, he was like, ask the sick man if he's willing to give up what makes him sick before you heal him. And
Yes,
that's a big part of it too.
it is for sure.
Is really taking a look at the things that are hurting you and ditching that. You know, and for some reason it seemed like once we started taking kratom, that came into our head.
Yeah.
It's like we wanted to eat healthier. We just dropped the sodas. You know, I used to
Exactly.
drink root beer, and I don't drink root beer at all anymore.
Well, it doesn't help with the prices of everything
It's
either.
true, but that wasn't a factor at the time because
No.
this has been like almost again 8 years.
But even at the store today, it was $8 for a 12-pack
In Bakersfield.
in Bakersfield.
Like
Yeah,
in
in
the
the
city.
city.
Yeah, that's crazy. You know, so I mean, see, it's like, you know, what we're talking about with Jordan Peterson, talking about pick your sacrifices. It's like, why not pick things that are like non-beneficial to you? I mean, that costs money and it's bad for your health. Get rid of it.
Exactly.
You know?
Like I picked up a small set of ginger ale for us.
Yeah, it's been like, it's, you know, you're not feeling good and stuff, and it's kind of
Yeah.
nice. But like prior to that, I haven't had a soda in like, I don't think in all this year.
I know. I can't remember the last time that I
think we might
did.
have had like cherry Coke or something when you and I went out like for the ultrasound or something.
Okay, we might have. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy.
we split it if anything though.
That's kind of why I call it's kind of why I call this a dietary supplement, because it just seems to align your
Everything.
needs.
Yes.
You know. But yeah, 800 milligrams, even
And-
just a couple times a day,
Yeah, it's insane.
especially for a child.
And you know, you say alignment of the needs, and if you really look at it within the addicts in themselves, there's been so many testimonials of addicts going on this stuff, and they were craving their drug of choice, and it's like they said they started taking this, and they weren't even wanting. I mean, they weren't craving their drug of choice
Right.
while they were on this.
Right.
It was, you know, and they weren't like looking to overdo this either, from what I could tell.
Right.
They were just taking it like they were supposed to.
There's people that take it as a last resort still, you know, and it's like I'm taking this in between, waiting for my prescription to be filled.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. It's kind of like an all or nothing
Yeah.
sort of.
If you want the
change.
full benefits and the lifestyle change that comes with it, yes, it is. You have to dive into it. We were not really given a chance. We just kind of had no medication anymore.
Yeah, no.
We were down. I
connections.
mean, it was a pretty bad point for us. I mean, we had been down for a couple of days at least.
Like I said, I didn't leave this bed. I had not left this bed for like 3 weeks. I had gone to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I was chronically depressed, and I was hurting. Like, I just could not function. I could not get out of bed.
Exactly, and it's like we got some capsules from a friend, and he's like, "Try this." So we said, "Well, I mean, we've heard about it. You know, you've done research on it.
It's
Yeah."
like, I don't think you understand that. You think that you credit yourself for finding this shit, but I had been spending years.
I know you have.
Trying to find it, and it was like I said, it came from a dumb Steve Carell movie.
Exactly, and you couldn't find it. That was the problem.
I did find it, and I did my research, and it was like not at all how they had it on the movie, you know. But then I watched these documentaries, and I read all the stuff, how the indigenous people like processed it and what they used it for, and the processes of childbirth and everything, you know, and how they like make a bark and they add water, and you can like put it in the bath, and it helps like with like uterine problems and all this stuff. But I just couldn't find it in the States.
That's what I was trying to say. Is you
Yeah.
could not find it
But
here.
it's just the moment that I heard the name, it was like a calling, and it's like you find it. But
I mean, but as soon as we got it, it was within like a half an hour, and we're like, "Let's go for a walk."
yeah,
Got out of bed. Let's go for a
We
walk.
went for a walk around the block. I mean, I could breathe. I haven't had asthma problems like I did, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just really shocked that you came back with this, because it was like I couldn't find it anywhere in the States.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe at that point I'd kind of given up. It had been probably a while before I.
Exactly.
But it's like I remember spending a good like 2 or 3 years just trying to find out information on it and everything. I love stuff like that. Even so, I found out about the Jimson weed, and
Yes.
it's like that's like all of my life I've been looking for.
Natural.
Yeah, the herbs that set us apart, because somebody was taking stuff before we had pharmaceuticals. So
Exactly.
I wanted to find the root of that, because I want to break away from the government, you know.
Yes.
But it's just, but yeah, all or nothing really. I mean, it's like you can't have one foot in the Western world in
Exactly.
one foot in the herbal world, you have to make that decision. And
You do.
It makes it easy.
Oh, it does. That's for sure.
But I'll credit you for finding it here in the States.
Well, I mean, it just happened to be through Drew.
But see, he was taking it all wrong.
Yeah, he was doing it all wrong.
Yeah.
There's another guy that we had that I was giving stuff to for a while. He was doing it all wrong.
Everybody, it's the
They
worst.
they think it's just they like you've said. People do not realize the potential of this.
Right.
They think no, the pharmaceuticals are much heavier. They're better. They're everything I need. This stuff. Well, okay, yeah, it's starting to work, but it's just kind of like a side thing. Like if I don't have anything, I'll take it, and yeah, I'm not having the withdrawals that I was having. They're not understanding the true benefits that they could get from it by skipping everything else.
Right. Like it's like at least for us and many of the people that I've read anecdotes from, it's pretty much the only thing they need. I sometimes see cannabis used, and I use cannabis with it, but not like you don't have to.
You don't have to, but I mean, it does work.
So, yeah, it's like I use the cannabis for like super acute pains and anxiety and stuff. But
the kratom and the cannabis is what got me through my motorcycle crash.
Yeah, a whole accident, broken bones.
Yeah, I shattered my foot.
Yeah, it's just broken. I mean, just
the bike landed on it.
Gash in the head, detached eyebrow.
Yeah.
Serious shit.
And I did not take any painkillers for it from the government.
Right.
I did not even go to a hospital with my injuries.
COVID era.
Yeah, it was COVID had just happened, so I wasn't going to chance that. But no, I recovered for about 3 weeks in bed here with just that stuff. And I'm walking around again. I've got to giddy up in my hitching my giddy up now, but
yeah, but
I still get around.
I mean, yeah, it was a life altering.
It was.
Crash.
Yes.
Either way, you'll never be the same. But
I hit a baby cow
with a motorcycle.
Yeah, with a motorcycle. Flipped the bike.
Didn't know how to stop, right?
And I didn't have a helmet on, so I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
I warned him. I saw it. I saw it, and sure enough.
I mean, I'm really, really thankful for what it wasn't.
And then the kids have to sit there and hear me yelling and bitching at you. But on a spiritual note about that incident, this was when you were still trying to take extra things that you weren't supposed to have.
It's true.
And it was like how the spirits laid that out for me to find out after or during, it was like, well, this is exactly why. It's like you just like gone and gotten extra stuff for yourself, like that same day or the day before.
Yeah.
And then you go and crash. And then it's like, see, the cause and effect.
Exactly.
So either way, it keeps you in check.
It does.
And it was like, and then, like as more time has gone by, because that's already been like 4 years.
Yeah, that's been a good 4 years, yeah.
Yeah, then as time has gone by, it's like, get it. It's just managed,
Yeah, this family has not been without their injuries.
No. I wish I would have had it like with my, like with the horse and a bit and stuff.
And the wrist.
Yeah. See, I haven't had seizures.
Nope.
I mean, I still get vertigo and still get, some
yeah, but nothing like you were.
No, I mean,
I had to help you through quite a few seizures.
Yeah, and then like just being off my feet from different medications, it's like they had me on anti-anxiety, antidepressants, sleeping pills, painkillers. That it was like a trifecta. Usually, it was usually 3 main things.
Yeah.
Sometimes they alternate between antidepressants and anti-anxiety.
Exactly.
And now it's pretty much just 1 herb.
Yeah.
Pretty much 2 if you want to count the cannabis.
Yeah, exactly.
But like cannabis is what I take for me to not have seizures and stuff. But,
and you haven't since you've been on it.
No. Yeah, it's just it's crazy, but yeah, you gotta work yourself through it, right?
You do. You really do.
It's a process.
Yes.
Just a boy.
Oh, Great, I probably spoke too soon about being out of the minefield, didn't I? This touchy subject does have lots of anecdotal success stories, though. There have also been some small studies that say regular use of kratom can reduce withdrawal symptoms and the use of other drugs. True, the FDA and DEA aren't on board with this yet. They suggest that kratom can be just as addictive. And to be fair, there have been some people who said they got addicted to kratom. But so far, evidence does say that kratom doesn't produce physical dependence and does decrease withdrawal symptoms. So it's believed that people dependent on kratom are those predominantly predisposed to becoming addicted to substances. I'm just saying what I found through my research. If you've had another experience, please let me know in the comments down below. Many things claim to be good at boosting your sex drive, but kratom tea might just top them all. According to a study in the Journal of Herbal Medicine, 99%.
Wait, what?
99% of the people who used kratom to enhance sexual performance reported an enhanced libido and better sexual performance. Though in addition to this, kratom is also supposed to enhance fertility. So if you don't want any younglings yet, then best to break out the protection when using kratom for sex. Kratom has also been shown to control insulin and glucose levels, helping it to prevent those sudden jumps in blood sugar levels. Kratom interacts with hypothalamus receptors that curb your appetite, especially for triggering foods like sugar and chocolate. Another popular use of kratom is its ability to lower corticosterone levels, one of the big links to depression. It's also been shown to be a great relaxant, which helps with stress and anxiety levels. Not only does it help you relax, but it's also believed to release endorphins, which helps you feel happier and better able to deal with life's challenges. Kratom is supposed to be such a good energy booster that it's even recommended to help with chronic fatigue syndrome. The only caveat here is that lower doses of kratom are supposed to help with energy, while slightly higher doses are supposed to help with mood and relaxation. It, of course, depends on your own individual body chemistry, but these are the results we know about so far. The alkaloids in kratom help to release acetylcholine to help clear the mind of those distracting thoughts like, I should probably take the trash out. And do I really need to sew that hole in my sock, or should I just ignore it until my toe pops out and I buy a new pair? Kratom tea is also great at helping you keep more alert and focused, which is why surveys have shown it's popular with college students trying to deal with those stressful things like midterm papers. There is even evidence that says kratom tea can help with neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia. One of the oldest uses of kratom tea is actually for treating that unpleasant condition, diarrhea. For this and things like constipation, bloating, and cramps, kratom tea is thought to be more effective than capsules. Granted, as I discussed earlier, kratom tea can cause digestive problems at the wrong dosage. So I would definitely say this is one of the harder benefits to take advantage of, especially if you can't find your right dosage level. According to many users, the benefit of using kratom tea over pills is that they tend to experience a faster onset of the desired effects. Also, depending on the type of benefit you're looking for, kratom tea can be better than other forms of kratom. In general, people have found kratom tea to be particularly effective when seeking the mood-enhancing or stimulating benefits. In order to make kratom tea, the first thing to talk about is dosage, which we already have talked about. Beyond that, there are two main things to be aware of. First, you'll want to steep it in water that is less than boiling. And second, much like poppy seed tea, it's a little bit bitter, little bitty bitter. So you'll probably want to add something like some honey or lemon to help spruce it up a little bit. In actuality, adding a little acidic substance into the tea can help release and enhance some of the tea's effects.
Words of advice from Daughter of Otten. Just raw dog it.
This is coming from a certified herbalist. It's not worth adding a little bit of sugar or honey or anything to it. Just
take it
just
and
gritty up and
take it.
Yep.
To learn about a very similar and controversial tea, watch this video next. Please be kind, take care of each other, and hopefully this video has given you a clear map to help guide you through that minefield of kratom tea.
Nice.
This is a 5-minute one. This is somebody else's experience.
I understand that it is used for certain.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is somebody else's experience. It's a 5-minute one. I'll let it run, and then we'll talk about what he said and everything else. I've got a few like this, so.
Particular reasons, but I've seen a lot of abuse. If it's doing these things and you mix them with other drugs, then it can get fatal. Okay, so in relation to kratom, which is a drug. Some people call it kratom. You can find out all kinds of information on kratom online. You can type it in Google. You can go on YouTube, and you can watch a lot of videos. I'm noticing that there's more people that are justifying the use of kratom and making it seem like it's okay. I understand that it is used for certain particular reasons, but I've seen a lot of abuse from personal experience in the last few years. I think that when you're
But what harm comes from the abuse? Like, honestly,
Exactly. Unlike the abuse of
chemicals,
cocaine, the abuse of
opiates.
heroin, opiates, any of those others that truly wreck a person's life, they can send them to jail. It can, all this stuff, like, because it's illegal, they can go to jail. In most states here, it's not illegal. So you're not going to be going to jail if you get caught with it.
Right. And
a lot of them screw with the mind. This one increases a lot in the mind.
yeah, so I mean, it's like even if you do start wanting more and more and more and more, like still haven't really seen any like physical harm that's done to people.
I agree.
Like, okay, so maybe there's like socioeconomic issues. Maybe they're stealing money to go buy it or something, or lying to their family.
But they shouldn't need as much though, because it's cheaper.
But it's like that is a possibility. I can see that would cause harm to others, but I can't see. It's like it's addictive. It can be addictive. It has that potential.
Oh yes, of course. Coffee can be addictive,
right? And I've struggled with it.
But I mean, the true definition of what addiction is.
Yeah,
it's really sketchy to me, because addiction for an opiate,
it's bodily harm.
Any of those is really bodily harm, and also, you just want it for the high. You want it so that you just keep going.
I guess a lot of people do with this stuff, but I feel that they don't give.
I haven't seen that as much though.
It took us about 2 or 3 years to understand it. And most of these people are taking it for a couple months to maybe a year.
And like, there's the difference that we've talked about before in dependency and in addiction. Dependency is what we fall under, and so many others taking kratom fall under.
Right.
It's because you start to get used to it, and then your body needs it to function.
Right.
Whereas in addiction, it's a snowballing effect.
Right.
That you're just going under.
Chasing the high. But I guess some people probably could, because like they are taking it for the wrong reasons, and it does give you that. It can.
Of course they could, yes. But more so than anything, I see in kratom that it is the dependency.
Yeah, and that dependency, I can guarantee goes away. I can guarantee that it could live day to day now without it. It would suck at first because you're used to it. But there is no way in hell that it's going to have the same kind of come down that,
the others do.
And you have to have it. Like I said, I was here for 3 weeks because I didn't have any kind of painkiller at all, and I'm just like dying. I'm just like not making it, And here it's like you might have a 3-day thing, and then you go on with your life.
And you're already clear-headed.
Yeah.
Coming off of kratom.
Yeah.
Coming off of opioids, heroin, any of the other drugs, it makes you numb. It makes you not able to sense things. I mean, there's so much more that your brain and body both have to come back from.
Right, there's a big ass healing process.
Yes.
And here it's provided that you don't have the toxicity from taking stuff you shouldn't take, because I'm talking here coming from the perspective of the powder only.
Yes.
Never had any of the other stuff. Tried to make my own tinctures, and they didn't separate. Right?
Yes, tinctures. I do not recommend tinctures to anybody as far as this goes.
No, you gotta do the work.
Same with like the what do you call it? Weed?
Dabs.
Oh yeah, but what would you call the THC or what?
Yeah, THC dabs.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about dabs, but what medical term for? I don't want to call it the wrong. Cannabis. Okay. Yeah. For cannabis, the dabs and stuff is all wrong.
Yeah, it's more than your body would be willing to like take from nature.
Yes.
Like when you burn cannabis, it's uncomfortable. You cough sometimes, and sometimes you smoke in it. You just can't smoke anymore because your lungs are hurting from it, right?
And that's your body's way of saying, listen, you don't need anymore.
That's enough, right? But I had a friend that was always trying to pressure me into the dabs because it was cleaner and you get so much more.
I keep hearing that from people that it's cleaner, and I don't see how.
Well, because you're not healing the plant, like the extra plant.
But that's what
matter.
you're supposed to be.
Exactly. That's what stops you from doing too much. And there's a lot of people that take cannabis that are really fried too.
Yeah.
And I look at these people and I'm like, I don't look like that, do I? I'm like, I feel like I'm pretty functional. I feel like I'm pretty clear.
Yeah.
And they're pretty fried, but that's because they're doing dabs.
Yes,
It's like I've been using the same amount of cannabis again for about 8 years. So
yes.
Both of those things came together, did they? I think it was on cannabis maybe a little bit longer. So.
Yes. Yeah, you were. You started cannabis before.
But even that wasn't working to get me out of bed, But yeah, so I.
Well, no, that kind of helps keep you down when you're
true.
coming off of something,
It's
especially.
True. Yeah, like really, what harm is really being done even if you are addicted? Besides, like the money issue and your family issues.
Exactly.
I'm not really seeing it.
No, I'm not either.
If somebody knows, then
okay.
If you're not comfortable with right here, right now, you'll try to put any kind of substance inside of your body. Based off of personal experience working on the front lines of addiction, I have seen a lot of people. When I first saw Kratom come around, it was about, I'd say 5 or 6 years ago. I was working in a treatment center and people were getting drug tested for heavy drugs, for any kind of drugs, for opiates, for methamphetamine, for MDMA, all the different types of drugs, the average drugs that people would use, the type of stuff that would show up in your drug test. Now, there were people that were getting their hands on Kratom. Where were they buying it? These were kids that were in rehab. They may have been in a lower level of care. So they were going to smoke shops and buying Kratom. And they would take the Kratom, sometimes in a capsule form, sometimes they'll make a tea out of it, but not usually. They wouldn't usually chew on it, but regardless, they would take this stuff and it wasn't showing up in their drug tests. So a lot of people, they were flying under the radar. And what was happening to these people is that they were, obviously not sober. They were presenting as being sober. They were acting like they were sober. They were saying they were sober, but they weren't. They were shortchanging themselves because they had quit all the heavy drugs, but they've kind of moved over into another realm of drug use. And addicts are.
And I disagree with that because maybe some people need the help of it. Maybe in order to get off of the stuff that people need that extra thing, and then you don't know because these people aren't giving them the chance to see if they'll just come off of this by themselves too.
Yeah, they're just looking at it like another drug, and it's like you gotta go to the source and look at the people that are using it.
Exactly.
What their elders say.
Because he's saying that these people, they look clear-headed, they sound it, but they're not because they've got something else in their system now. Okay.
Oh.
Your leg again, huh?
Yes. Yeah,
but it's like, and that's not necessarily right.
I don't think that's necessarily true. You can pretty much tell when somebody's inebriated or when somebody's taking too much stuff.
Oh yeah, you can 100.
It's like you get like people that get jacked up and they might know what they're talking about, but they're talking like 100 miles an hour and they're looking here and they're
caffeine.
Looking there.
Because I mean, in these treatment centers, they allow them to drink coffee.
Is it caffeine?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean that's stupid to me. Like it's
because
like,
if they're gonna say it in that context, then they need to be taking the coffee out too.
No, I swear to God, I react more to coffee than I ever with Kratom. I could probably drink a whole mason jar of Kratom and not get the shakes and the nervousness that I get from coffee. So I feel like coffee is stronger.
Well, especially since coffee's heated. And it interacts differently. Like Kratom, we don't have it heated.
I've tried to heat it and it's nasty and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But where's the pipe crust?
The what?
The pipe crust.
It's at the bottom of all that. You'll have to have Tristan to help you.
Smart. They're creative. They'll find different ways of using drugs. One of the other personal experiences that I had was one day. Managing as a house manager at this beach house in Newport Beach, and it was an upstairs downstairs house. And I remember when I got to the house, I was actually coming home one day and I wasn't really supposed to be there. I was on my way to some other place, but I'd left some paperwork at home. And when I got home and I pulled up into the driveway, I saw a couple of guys outside on the balcony, and one of them went face down on the ground. So I didn't know what was wrong with him. When I went upstairs into the house, I walked into the house and I noticed that there was another guy that ran into the bedroom, and when I went into the bedroom after him, he was in the bedroom banging his head against the wall. Now, I didn't know what was wrong with him. I was like, what are you guys on? So when I came back out, another guy fell in the living room on his back and went into full-on convulsions. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on or what they had used, but I kept asking him, what did you guys use? And I called 911 in that moment, and the paramedics came, and what the outcome was that these guys had gotten kratom from this place down the street, as well as spice. So they had mixed the two drugs together, which I don't recommend it, because from what I saw,
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, spice is probably one of the worst drugs that I have ever seen.
That is insane.
I was in what do you call it? A shelter for a year because of issues that we had, and I was out. And I mean, what I had seen coming through that shelter with the spice is just outrageous. Spice, I mean, it's now illegal here by far.
Yeah.
I mean, it will screw you up.
That stuff was so bad. And that was supposed to be a synthetic cannabis, right?
Yeah.
That stuff, man.
So that had nothing to do with the kratom.
That makes me so mad to have anybody, it's so insulting to have them even put it in the same sentence.
I know.
That's screwed up.
Yes.
Saw that day, it was all three of them were hospitalized. And I'm not saying that this will happen for everybody, but I think it has the types of effects where if it stimulizes you, or it actually it's a depressant in one sense, or it can be a stimulant in another sense. If it's doing these things and you mix them with other drugs, then it can get fatal. From what I'm understanding and from what I've learned is that when kratom is mixed with other drugs, which usually it is, because kratom doesn't seem to have enough of that intensity that people would want, but it definitely enhances other drug use. When you mix them with other drugs, it can become detrimental. So do I condone it? I don't believe.
Okay, this guy's talking about, oh, well, from what I've seen, kratom's always mixed with other drugs. It's always...
He said often, to be fair, but...
And it's not.
I haven't really seen that, so...
And if you do, you're doing it all wrong. Like I said, you should not mix kratom. You need to make kratom your sole...
And maybe cannabis.
Oh, and, yeah.
But if you're
another
just
plant.
Used to it,
yeah.
Then yeah, I think that
you need to know, like, especially your first year, so you need to be knowing your dose. You need to know what it does to your body, what the doses are, how big, you need to know everything so that you can properly determine everything.
And every 3 months or so, you need to go through an evaluation point in which you take yourself off of it for like a day.
Yes.
And then introduce it back in a little bit at a time so you know where your new level is.
Exactly.
When you first start and you have chronic pain, a lot of times you've worked through that, and now you can take a smaller dose. But
exactly, and we've been able to do that several times.
Way down. So it's like you always want to try to take as little as possible.
Yes.
For the maximum effect.
Yeah.
It's like, don't shortchange yourself, but sometimes it's like you get to a certain point, you don't need to take anymore. It's not doing anything for you, so you're just wasting it. So, scale it back. If that's not working, add a little bit more.
Yeah.
Find out where you are, like every 3 months or so, do your own evaluation.
Exactly.
Like, people don't take charge of their own health, and it makes me mad.
Yes.
It makes me sad, too.
Believe in it at all. I watched this guy on YouTube. He's talking kratom, and he kind of does it with a smirk on his face, like it's okay in his world to do kratom, and maybe perhaps it is. To each their own. But I don't promote it. I don't condone it. I don't condone use of kratom. It's more new in our country. There's a reason why right now I believe that in 6 different states it has become regulated. But for some odd reason, the FDA has not put. They haven't made it a scheduled drug, as far as not to my knowledge, on a national level. And I believe that it really should be, because it's dangerous. And right now, your kids could be using kratom. So basically, you might be drug testing Billy for opiate use because he's.
This is what scares people off of it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's completely in the wrong, and he needs to do his own research instead of seeing what's going on in the counseling area, like with addicts. This is completely different. You need to really know what you're talking about and not go spewing nonsense and scaring people off of something that, I mean, this plant is just amazing.
I know. And it's like you have to look at it from a health perspective.
I'm good right now. I'm good.
What is it?
It's a
Okay. Not
here.
like he's seeing stuff. He's seeing inner city stuff
Cool.
with
My friend's here.
with these people mixing stuff, and it's like that's not. If he did his research, he could come to them and say, "Well, that's not how it's meant to be used. You're abusing it."
yes.
You know, this is what my literature, this is what my research says. You know, I mean, you can still. He should take it himself.
Mhm.
I guess is what I'm saying, is so that he knows what he's talking about.
Yes, I agree.
We've never said that it's not addictive. It definitely has addictive properties.
Yes, it does.
You know, but
Again, I will say it for
Work
about the
through it.
third time. Coffee is addictive.
yeah.
This is in the same family as coffee.
Mhm.
So of course it can be addictive. I'm done.
I mean, social media.
Yes, it's
It's
addictive.
I mean, you just have to find your balance.
You know, alcohol is not illegal. It's addictive.
That is way more dangerous, in my opinion, than
Yes.
kratom is. People actually die from that.
and
you know.
people have come off of alcohol through the use of kratom.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of stories about people upsizing on the feel freeze that I just showed on the last thing. And those I do not condone because, like I said, that's an extract.
Yeah, extract one.
Never go to something like that.
It didn't separate naturally on its own, so that tells me they have to do something to it to strip the terpenes
Exactly.
or whatever, you know, the tannins from it, and that's not what you want.
No, you don't.
Your body needs to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
He's had a history with opiates in the past or with meth use because he's had a history with meth in the past, but he might be flying under the radar because he's going to the local smoke shop, buying kratom and using it, which is, you know, all kinds of bad because then he might be able to pull the wool over his parents' eyes because he's not fully loaded on the heavy stuff, but he's still loaded on the light stuff. So I think that kratom should be banned as a whole. As a person who's in recovery, I know that a lot of people that
Okay, so again, you know, this recovery nonsense makes me mad, and they're so egotistical because he says, because, you know, he sees this in recovery,
Right.
because of this, because of that, it should be banned because it affects them in recovery. So what about the millions that it helps?
Right. That's not a good way to be looking at it.
No, it's not.
And
I mean, he needs to open his eyes and see a different way. The talk of the 12 steps of all this stuff is ridiculous. The way that they indoctrinate people into AA and Narcotics Anonymous and whatever else.
You've been all up in that shit.
Yeah, I've been there. I
Years
know.
and years and years.
My mother was in it, and she just switched her drug of choice to that.
Mm-hmm.
And they say that's okay to do, and it's not.
Another thing that gets me is been looking into it regarding pregnancy. They've talked about the very few cases where women have disclosed to their doctors that they're taking it. And the doctor's recommendation is to stop the use of kratom and begin using a low dose opioid like Percocet. And by low dose, they mean obviously a minimum of 10 milligrams.
Yeah.
I guess they come in fives. So say 5 milligrams.
Yeah.
3 to 4 times a day. Of an actual opiate where you know what the side effects are, which the side effects for pregnancy are significantly higher than
Yes.
the plant.
Exactly.
That seems so backwards to me. It's like take them off the natural thing and put them on an opiate.
Well, yeah, because that's the pharmaceutical companies. They have to make their money. That is what they're going after. They're going after the typical people, saying, "Listen, you know, we get paid for this, you know,
Right.
so this is what you need to be taking because
And
the research has been done on it. We know what it does. We know it fucks you up."
Yeah, they did the same thing to me. That's what they did to me. It's like I go in there, and they're like, "Well, you're already on Percocet, so just keep doing what you're doing for your pain because to switch you out of it would be worse now." And then when I'm in the hospital, they go ahead and just load me up with Tylenol number 3 after he's born, and they know I'm breastfeeding.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know what happened, but I started being able to be I was like really photosensitive with Tylenol.
Yeah,
like,
you were.
real Tylenol 3s. And it's like, I think that was partially why I got scalded. It was an interaction between shellfish, that, and the sun.
Yes.
And I mean, it was bad. But never with kratom.
Yeah,
Never
never.
with cannabis.
No,
Never with any other herb I've ever taken in my entire life
I know.
have I had those kinds of side effects. And so, yeah, it's really backwards to me to see that they will recommend, like, but it makes sense because it's a money-driven thing.
It is, yes.
And they can monitor it.
They can,
If
yes.
they prescribe you an opioid, they can monitor it. And I'm not entirely convinced that they wouldn't call CPS on your ass
Anyway.
at the time of birth because they found narcotics in their system,
Yeah, when you didn't go there on narcotics.
Right. And it's like, that's so...
See, but that's another
backwards.
whole story too, because that's, again, the government enrolled with CPS, and from what it seemed is they take kids.
Right. That's the main narrative.
Yes.
They came poking around when he was born because he was born at home, and they found that to be suspicious. And they came in and they're like, well, we need to talk to you about your test results. And it's like, would you like, your mother and your husband to leave? And it's like, no, it's okay. You can disclose it with everybody here. And like, oh, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, no, it's totally fine. I'm completely open. And they're like, well, we found narcotics in your baby's pee. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, as soon as I got here today, they gave me Tylenol 3. And they're like, well, we also found out that when you came in here for, when you were at 7 months pregnant to the ER, that you had an elevated amount of opiates. And like, they gave me morphine here in the hospital before they ever even did an ultrasound.
Yeah.
So I'm like, check the records, and they obviously dug through the records, found that to be true, and left me alone. But it's like, that's what I mean. That there's like no, communication there. They try to nail you with it anyway.
Yeah.
But
well, they're hoping that they can nail you with it and that you won't point it out to them.
Right, I guess, and it's like, no, they gave me morphine, a shot of morphine that day when I came in, and here we are, and so It was like, and then I remember another doctor came in, and he was a chic fellow. And he was looking Tristan over, and he's like, this is good baby, and he hands him to me, and he's like, and he said the same thing. He's like, well, we tested the pee, and we found opiates. And I'm like, oh, I've already been through this. And I'm like, they gave me this. He's like, so from today? He's like, they gave that to you today before, So he was kind of like pretty pissed off that they didn't disclose that to him, and that they even did that. So it's like they'll throw those pills at you.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're giving me like 2 at a time. I was only taking 1. It was like, I'm not going to take 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's pretty elevated. But no, that's okay.
Oh, yeah. Of course that's okay.
And then my doctor continued to prescribe me Ambien and everything else while breastfeeding.
I know. It's ridiculous.
And he slept for like 8 hours once, and I said, no more,
Yeah.
But not... I mean, I can't say for anything yet, but I mean, like, thus far, I have not ever had those sorts of situations with kratom or cannabis.
Yes, I agree.
I just can't believe him. I just can't.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, this guy here, he's got to get a more of a rounded perspective of the history of it, the respect for it, and realize that not everything is the inner city, where kids are just using it to get high.
And not all of it revolves around the narcotics or the alcohol programs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this is a totally different thing.
That's the biggest thing, is they think that the world revolves around that.
But they're all hypocrites. Like your mom still continued to get prescriptions for narcotics and tramadol and antidepressants and anti-anxiety. She was on like Xanax and everything else. It's like, but she was in the program, and I guess that's different. They're hypocrites.
They are.
The guy that was running the program at the homeless shelter, he's like getting paid off by people with prescription medications and stuff. And as long as you're splitting with him, he's fine with whatever you take there.
Exactly.
There's no, I don't know. There's not a system there. And he said you were in it.
Yeah.
Witnessing that stuff for 18 months.
Yeah.
enter recovery for whatever reason, some of them really want to get recovered, using kratom I don't give it a green light, period. That's all there is to it. I'm not down for kratom at all.
See?
What authority?
This is kratom, and depending on who you ask, it's a potentially lethal drug or a harmless supplement with a bunch of different benefits. I had never heard of it until I saw this TikTok from a popular influencer.
So I've just been going to coffee shops, chugging my gas station crack, and doing my taxes.
So we decided to dig in.
Oh.
Stay Tuned spent weeks talking to pharmacologists, recreational users, the mother of a kratom user who died, and the American Kratom Association to answer 5 questions. What is kratom? What is it used for? Is it dangerous? How available is it? And ultimately, should it be legal?
I had so much fun doing my taxes, which made no sense. I'm like, this is awesome. And I'm like suggesting them to everyone and calling my friends. And I'm like, you gotta get it.
We wanted to chat with Emmy first because her video about using kratom went viral.
This is very LA of me, but I love like any drink that's like, be happy, feel good. Because usually it's vitamins, but this was in a coffee shop. So I bought it and then I drank it to do my taxes. I felt relaxed. I felt a little happy. So I kept drinking them.
Somebody said, Emmy, that is a synthetic opioid.
Emmy's experience mirrors a lot of what we saw in our reporting. Many people don't really know what kratom is before trying it out.
Ron White brought a bunch into the club. Those things. I don't know what's going on with those things. Whew, those put you in a nice place.
So what exactly is it? Kratom is a plant that's native to Southeast Asia. Most of it comes from Indonesia, Malaysia, or Thailand. It's most often ground into a powder and consumed either brewed as a tea or in a capsule. While it's not an opioid, the active ingredient metrogenine can stimulate the same brain receptors as opioids, which means kratom can become addictive to some users.
That falls between all of these different regulations. It's not a dietary supplement. It's not a prescription drug, but it's not a banned substance.
Michael White is the director of pharmacy practice at the UConn School of Pharmacy. Some estimates suggest kratom is about a $1.5 billion a year industry. And according to a recent study, an estimated 1.7 million Americans 12 or older used kratom in 2021. White says there are 4 primary groups of kratom users. 1, people with opioid use disorder who are using kratom to either tie them over until they can get more opiates or attempting to wean off harder stuff. 2, people who are using kratom as a chronic pain management tool. 3, people who are using it to manage anxiety, depression, or some other mood disorder. And 4, people who like the stimulant effects, which could include the sober curious or a caffeine replacement.
We don't know how many products are being sold in the country. We don't know who is selling the products, in what concentrations. We don't know where they're making the products.
White said one of the biggest issues is that there's almost no quality control for these products.
No one wants to buy a product and have the product be laden with lead and arsenic and tin. But I can tell you that there are a number of kratom products that are being sold right now that exceed the FDA regulations for drug products and dietary supplements for all of those heavy metals.
One of the other main dangers he pointed out was that it's really hard to know what exactly is in any product labeled kratom. It might be kratom, but it also might be something synthetic and possibly dangerous. For a lot of products, there's no dosing information on the packaging, so you don't know how much to take. And finally, according to White, kratom can change the way your body breaks down other drugs in ways that can be dangerous to your health if you're using multiple substances at once.
I think we've shown with medical marijuana laws, and I think we've shown with recreational cannabis product laws inside various states that we can do a lot better.
Everyone we've talked to about kratom told us how easy it is to buy online and in person. So we're in downtown Manhattan to do just that, buy some kratom.
Yeah, it is.
You sell kratom? Just over here? Do you have kratom? Oh, I already see it in the window. Can I get the blue one with the pill? Do people buy this a lot?
Yeah, we've got demands. We're currently out of stock right now.
Wow.
This, I think, for the blue one, it's the last one that we got. Like,
Oh, you have a bunch. Okay. Everything we've heard about how easy it is to find and buy kratom is true. We went to half a dozen smoke shops and convenience stores within a 3-block radius, and all of them had kratom in different forms: tablet, powder, leaf, and liquid.
Which is what really screws it up.
This is Brendan with Ozzy when Ozzy was a baby. Brendan was my youngest son, and he was 48 when he died. He died of an overdose of kratom.
Do you remember the first time you heard about kratom? You know, what went through your mind?
I just, it didn't strike me as terribly serious. It's oh, you can buy it at the vape shop.
And the fact that it's unregulated by the FDA and there's a bunch of warnings. I mean,
yeah.
When you learned all of that, you know, what went through your mind?
When Brendan died, when we went into the house, we found the box of kratom, or it was empty. And on that box, it said something along the lines of, we cannot be held responsible for any adverse side effects of taking kratom. And there was no dosage advice. There was nothing except, hey, not our problem. If you die, it's on you, man. I say, look at the squirrel. It's up there. The toxicology.
So quality control is number one. We got into some sketchy stuff with some cheaper companies.
Yes,
They made us feel really crappy.
And you know,
you can taste
you get it. I mean, when you're taking it for a longer point, you know the taste of a good quality. You know the taste of a bad quality.
And you also know the taste of the strains. You know, it's like you get a discerning palate for what's good for you and what's not. But yeah, do not buy from cheap places online. Who knows how it's because, like I said, a lot of the stuff tastes like it was washed.
Well, yeah, and who knows what they're adding into it?
So you got arsenic, and you've got like I said, lead.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger issues.
Yeah, so
is what you're getting.
Yeah, so you definitely get toxicity from those things.
Yeah.
Even in powder form, and God knows if they have some sort of poisonous, like tree frog that's been in the plants and gets ground up with them. Who knows? You know.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like I said, it took us a while to find 2 or 3 very reputable brands.
Crave is that's our top brand that we choose.
Clarity.
There's Clarity.
And
Bumblebee. I've heard a lot about Happy Hippo as a good brand, but I've never tried it, so I couldn't tell you.
No, they got a lot. They've got a lot of gummies and tinctures and stuff, though.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're streamlining.
But I think that's just where everything's going. I got a feeling that a lot of these other companies are going to have a lot more soon too.
Right. And even with Crave, I think they've tried to pull the wool over our eyes a couple of times with some of their smaller doses, because it's like you'll get a red Mang.
Yeah.
It's very clearly not. You know, it doesn't taste like that, and the effects are not the same. So
it wears off faster, and you're like, nope, that's a fast strain, not a.
Yeah, that's a white, that's a Pordio, or something. But yeah, that's all I can say is you just got to do your work. You got to refine your palate.
It's not one that like you just learn from a friend and then you go buy some and take it.
Right.
You have to really do some. I would only recommend kratom to people that are going for pain management or severe depression to try to get their life back.
Yeah.
That is what this is for.
And honestly, for me, it's I'm still on the fence of just saying that it's just pain relief. Like I said, I don't know that taking it for mental health issues is a good idea. I'm on the fence about it. I get your point. I do, because it's like, I can see that it can get you out of bed, it can get you going. You don't want to have to rely on something to do that.
Yeah, that does draw a fine line there.
But definitely for pain relief, like for mental health stuff, I would still stick with cannabis.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not denying that it does have really good mental health benefits. I just don't know if you should be solely taking it for that.
Exactly.
But
it's better than going to your doctor and getting some kind of
Zoloft
or some stupid thing that's just gonna screw with you.
For sure, because there's nowhere to go from there.
No.
And at least with kratom, there is a place to go, and it's easier to kick that than it is to kick other mental health things with much less repercussions.
Yes.
When you start taking antidepressants for a while and then you stop those, there's big repercussions.
Exactly.
But that's like all I can say is you just really have to actually do your work. You have to respect the herb. You have to. You know?
Yeah, I don't just think, oh my God, this is like a miracle drug that you're just going to go out there, you're going to take and you're going to get better. No, there's work involved.
Yeah, and you still got to do your physical therapy.
You have to do all your stuff. Like I said, I walk everywhere. I mean, I'm always going.
It just happens to motivate you more to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it takes away the edge of pain. But yeah, you still got to do your yoga. You still got to do your walking. You still have to do physical therapy. And if you have a mental health issue, you still have to go through the process of figuring out why you have it. Yeah, for sure. It just makes it a little bit easier to do so.
Yes.
But yeah, like you said, it's not. Don't just think it's just gonna be like an instant cure-all.
Exactly, and I mean that's what like these addicts. That's what a lot of them go into this thinking.
Instant gratification.
It's that instant gratification. I'm just gonna go. It's just gonna keep me going. It's just gonna do this. It's just gonna do that. And see another thing that I can see, and they will say that the main cause of death would be from kratom on this one. Is the people that want it for stimulation, but are on serious energy drinks too.
Oh yeah.
Because if you're taking energy drinks on top of this, then you're in for some serious hurt.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think about that. It's like, the energy drink thing, that always goes over my head. It's like outside my scope.
Well, I mean, there's nothing said about that.
All his friends, always energy drinks. In hand, some sort of energy
but
drink.
It's never talked about. Unlike, people are starting to talk about this and living in a bad light. And there's nothing about, well, the energy drinks can kill you. I mean...
Let me look this over. How many deaths by energy drink? I know somebody just died from coffee, from just a good giant espresso coffee thing that they got at one of these places. So.
But I mean, if you're looking for an instant, high instant jolt, and so you're doing that down 2 Red Bulls, and then you take, 5 capsules, and you're gonna be in for some serious hurt. This is not supposed to be something that's just going to pick you up and, oh my God, you're there.
Yeah, I do think it's much less likely to kill you than a lot of these other things, but you still have to do your since 2004.
A lot more, to be
truthful. I would think so, but a lot of people are awesome. It says, one significant national study revealed that complications from energy drinks doubled between 2007 and 2011, with 10% of affected hospitalization.
Yeah.
It definitely mixed with kratom.
And then all they're going to say that caused it would be the kratom.
Yeah, because nobody's going to test for the injury.
Yeah, nobody's going to deal with the energy drink on that.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, that could be what those 4 were.
Right.
That they said only had kratom in their system.
Seeing here that there was 64 deaths supposedly, but there's no way to prove that it was only the kratom that did it.
Yeah.
And I think you said the 4 of them, they only tested for kratom, and they might have found that. But yeah, what are the other factors? And
there's always going to be other factors, and people are always trying to find the quickest way to achieve what they want.
Yeah. And that's the reason for the extracts, the tinctures, and everything else, and the gummies, and all
so,
that.
I mean, okay, so you do one of the 200 times extracts and 2 energy drinks.
Yeah, you're screwed.
I mean, that's going to send your heart into a racing storm.
Yeah, I feel more from coffee than I do from the kratom, so it's really hard for me to believe. But, yeah, I mean, I guess anything that is hard on your liver, your kidneys, you have to filter. If you don't give it time, if you don't drink enough water...
I'm just thinking of other things that have caffeine or whatever in it. What if somebody's taking Excedrin for headaches?
Yeah.
And then taking
That's a factor. It's not just straight kratom.
Yeah.
It's then you could say it.
Yeah.
It would be okay, well there you go, that was it.
If it was something related to that end.
Right, unless we had coffee that day, then you never know.
Yeah.
Report showed there was nothing else in his system except kratom and a small amount of anti-seizure medication that he got at the hospital.
Tell me a bit more about Brendan. What was he like?
Brendan was a character. He was very creative. He built this fence,
They're not gonna say.
and it's a beautiful fence. You want the red one? He had a daughter. Her name is Devin. And Devin is now 17. She was 15 when he died. One of the things he always gave me, beautiful earrings. He would buy earrings for me.
I've asked about the impact that Brendan's death has had on the family, but what about you? How has his death impacted you?
I'm still mad at Brendan. I'm mad at him for dying. I'm mad at him for taking kratom. He's a grown up. He should have known better. I don't know why he was taking it. I don't know when anger goes away. It's easier. It's easier to be mad than to be sad.
So, should kratom be legal? Should it be regulated?
Hey, consumers should beware. So first step is look at the labeling. If there's nothing there, don't use it. If it makes a therapeutic claim, don't use it, because we want to make sure people are protected. The manufacturing of kratom products in the United States is pretty much the Wild West because the FDA refuses to responsibly regulate these products.
We reached out to the FDA for comment, but the agency didn't respond by the time we recorded this. On its website, the FDA says kratom is not appropriate for use as a dietary supplement and warns consumers not to use it. Meanwhile, the DEA has listed kratom as a drug of concern and has yet to exercise its authority to label or restrict it.
As we approach this at the American Kratom Association, we want good manufacturing standards in place.
While Haddow did say the AKA supports minimum age requirements for buying kratom, he pushed back on the idea that it shouldn't be available at gas stations, grocery stores, or coffee shops.
I could give you a dozen products you can buy at a gas station today that have more harmful effects than kratom would ever have. There are some bad actors in the system who are deliberately adding things to kratom that are not natural and that they make the products dangerous because they boost the effects of kratom. But it's not going to be ultimately dangerous unless it is an adulterated product or being so horrendously abused by someone that they harm themselves, which would be the rare occasion.
One of the issues is that it falls between all of these different regulations, and there's no one that's really in charge of protecting you. And in that ambiguity, there's a lot of wiggle room for people to do what they can to try to make a buck in the marketplace while they still can.
Because there's a big sign out front that says kratom sold here, that would suggest, oh, there's no danger here. It's like ice cream sold here, soda is sold here. Just because it's sold at the convenience store doesn't mean it's not dangerous.
Yeah. Okay, this is a 5-minute one. I was going to stop there, but
We trade it. I was, researching about it online.
Manage joint pain, particularly for those living with arthritis.
okay, I guess we're not watching this one.
Arthritis, as you may know, is a common condition that affects
can't hear it.
millions of people worldwide, causing discomfort, stiffness,
This is the one about
and
joint
swelling
pain.
in the joints.
Well,
Today,
we already know the
we'll
answer.
dive into how
Let's go back to JP's. Let's go through some of the comments.
Okay, because we're already at like an hour and a half, I think.
Let's go through a couple of comments.
Okay. Oh crap! I got.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I can see. I was trying to line it up so that I only had.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean, just the main takeout of all of this is do your own research. Know what you're doing. Find your balance in it. Don't just take it, thinking, oh my God, this is a party drug. I'm just gonna take it and that's it.
No, it's meant to be respected. It's meant to be honored. Go to the source. Remember, your limits and try to take as little as possible.
Exactly.
Really feel it. Research the brands that you're getting into. And, I don't say that just about kratom. I say that about absolutely everything.
Yes.
Including your food.
Exactly.
Read the labels.
It's like the different foods that you buy, like the different meats that you buy at different stores.
Yeah, where does it come from?
Yeah.
What are you putting into your body? People need to be more aware of that. Take control
Exactly.
of your health. This is the age of the internet. Ignorance, there's no excuse for it.
No, I mean watching some of these documentaries on how chicken gets on your plate.
Yeah.
How, I mean, that's not a bad thing to do, and I mean, you will start to see some things that is very concerning in our world.
Yeah, makes you change your mind, and that's where change happens is individually.
Yes.
You start living righteously, you start living clean and pure, and you just hope that other people do the same, but it starts there. It starts with your family. And like I said, I just like to go back to the source, go back to the people that found it originally.
Exactly.
Jimson weed has a really bad rap out here because it's poisonous, and I know that a lot of the people out here try to use it to get high. They don't know how to harvest it. They eat the wrong part. They try to consume it. It's like there's a certain way that it's processed so that you can use it. And
that's the key.
They find out that it's good for asthma and for colds and stuff. The leaves are
Yes.
dried and powdered, but because of the negative connotation, nobody wants to see the benefit of that plant. It's right there in their backyard, everywhere. They're like, oh, that's a poisonous plant. Get rid of it. Well, no. People have indigenously been using that for thousands of years.
Exactly.
And go back to the source. I mean, there's no reason not to be able to do your research.
Yes, there isn't.
I still 100%, even as an herbalist and as a spiritual advisor, I would 100% endorse it for anybody to try.
Yes.
So
especially if you're in pain.
Yeah, mostly for pain. And so long as you do your research,
and you're willing to give it a fair shake.
Right.
You're not just gonna take it one time and be like, well, I threw up. No. Right. No, you have to do your work. Put in your own homework.
Meditate on it,
Yeah.
Research, write things down if you have to. But yeah, I can't see it being anything but a beneficial,
Exactly.
For sure.
So. I think somebody else is turning down up, see?
That's interesting.
Yeah, 2 people. Nobody comes down the road.
They're slow.
All right.
Alrighty.
Let's end this.
Thank you very much. That was good.
It was very informative.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.
Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Take care of yourselves. Is it the same vehicle?
It seems like it.